All right, everybody. It is 7 p.m. sharp. We're going to get started here in a few moments. Just a few moments, we're going to get started so we can get unstuck and move forward. Let's give us a few moments and we'll get started. 2 minutes, we'll get started here in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, we'll get started and have this great conversation tonight. I'm excited about it. So in 2 minutes, we're going to get started here. All right. Let's get this party started. Listen, I don't know about you, but I'm excited because today is the first day of October 2024. And I just think about 9 months have passed already, and we're now in the fourth quarter of the year. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but every beginning of the year, I make plans, I make vision boards, I do all this stuff, and throughout the year, sometimes I get some of it accomplished, sometimes I don't. But often, what I figure in my life and so many other people's lives is that somehow we get stuck, right? We get stuck that we're making progress, and then all of a sudden we stop making the progress that we want to make. And so tonight we're just going to have a candid conversation with my co-host tonight, Shamia Williams, and I'm going to introduce you here in a second. But I want to make sure that you know that you're in the right place at the right time, right? So one of the things about me is that you see behind me, you see Kobe Bryant, right? I had a birthday last week, and anybody that knows me knows I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. If you look around my place, you'll see Kobe Bryant memorabilia. I had Kobe books. I got this one, and I just got another gift this week from someone, and that's it. It's all these quotes. I hope you guys can see that. It's Kobe Bryant. It's the man, myth, legend. One of the reasons why I love Kobe Bryant, and this isn't about basketball, but one of the reasons why I consider Kobe Bryant one of my mental mentors, and one of the reasons why I love him is because he always showed up when it mattered most. Right? Kobe Bryant was clutch. Right? He was showed up in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, you want to give Kobe the ball. You want him to have the ball in his hand because he's going to show up when it matters most. The reality is this: the game is often not won in the first or second or third quarter. Oftentimes, the game is won in the fourth quarter. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in the fourth quarter of the year. We had just began. It's tip off to the fourth quarter. And so we're going to kick this off and we're going to have a conversation. So let me do station identification just to ensure that you're in the right place at the right time. So you are in the right place if you've been making moves but not making progress, right? You've been making moves, you've been making some moves this year that you started off with a burst, you've been making some moves, but you're not making progress anymore. Something happened that's caused you not to make progress anymore, right? Or maybe you've been busy, right? You've been busy, you've been active, you've been doing things, but you're not satisfied, right? Like oftentimes I think about my own life that I've been busy being busy, but not satisfied. I've just been filling up my space with being busy, but not making progress. And therefore I'm not satisfied. Or maybe you're about to quit. Maybe you're about to quit. That you started something, you had a dream, you had a vision that you started off this year with, and you're about to quit. Or maybe you've already quit, right? Like, let's be honest with you. Some of you, some of us, sometimes we put down what it is that we put our hands to and we quit. And if that's you, you're in the right place at the right time. Just know that. You're in the right place at the right time. Or you're ready to redeem the time, right? I'm all about redeeming the time, right? Like this year, you may waste the time. This year, you may not have been as productive as you wanted to be. This year, you may not have been as successful as you wanted to be. You haven't even started to do the thing that you said you'd do. Here's the deal. You're in the right place at the right time if you are ready to redeem the time. You're ready to redeem the time. So I want to encourage you with this. And we're just going to be about 45 minutes, and then we're gonna have some actionable steps for you to leave with and some resources to help you be more productive in this fourth quarter and help you gain the momentum and reset so you could finish off 2024 strong. But here's the deal. This is the first thing I want to let you know. And I'm going to introduce my co-host here in a second. You've got to take this personal. This has got to be personal. This has to be personal. So there's a reason why you're on here tonight. And I hope that reason is very personal. I mean, you may have been invited or someone may have sent you the link. You might be on a rebroadcast. That's all good. But if you're going to reset your momentum and finish 2024 strong, you've got to take this personal. You got to take this thing personal, and you got to put the responsibility and the onus on yourself. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce the person who I'm going to have a conversation with. The crazy thing is, Shamia, I said I'd introduce you, but I didn't have an introduction. I didn't have an introduction. Shmi is amazing. She is a purposepreneur. She is an entrepreneur. She is a woman of God. She is creative. She's a
Keep
boss.
going. Take it. I'll take it. Take it all. Keep
Nah,
going.
man. Yeah, I'm sure. Sure. But Shabir, we've been having a lot of conversations over the past few months, and we just wanted to invite some people into our conversation, right? And so,
Yeah.
I don't know, we can tell anybody but ourselves. I didn't even tell anybody but myself. I'm Jermaine Watkins. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a pastor. I'm a business owner. I'm originally from the Bahamas. Shamia, for the folks watching.
Well, I am a business owner. I am a worship leader, and I am just ready and excited all the time to help people to just, do the thing, whatever the thing is to do the thing. So people know me for being that guy in the room that's going to hype you up, gas you up, and make sure you get started with what you set out to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, one of the things I love about you is that in our conversations, you've always been actionable, right? There's always been some type of action. You've always been asking me the right questions and kind of helping me move forward. And that's what it's all about, right? Like, I don't know if you can see behind me, like, move forward, like the best is yet to come. I'm forward thinking, right? Like, I'm always about forward, and you've been a forward partner with me. Like, you've been talking about moving forward and pushing me forward. And so I appreciate you tonight and appreciate you for our partnership in the forward movement.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you too. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's move
So,
forward.
so we talk about who we're talking to tonight, right? Individuals that feel stuck. And I know you've been having a lot of conversations with people, and you yourself, this year, I know you had a season where you felt stuck as well. So I'm gonna kick it to you, and you could just talk to us real quick about like your relationship with being stuck.
Yeah, so I think everyone could identify with it when we talked about the different ways that you could be stuck. But one of the ways that I didn't know was possible to be stuck was to be busy and to be making moves and to make things happen and to be doing things that are outside of the ordinary, but to still be stuck because even though you're busy, you're not doing the thing that you were supposed to do. So I was at a crossroad and I didn't even know it. I had been busy from last year, attending events, showing up in all the rooms, making all the right connections, getting things done. But it wasn't until the season came for me to slow down and rest when I was evaluating all the things I did and what I needed to do to move forward that I realized what I really set out to do. It had been since March 2023 since I did the last thing towards that. And so even though I was moving and even though it looked like I was making progress, I hadn't actually done the one thing that I had set out to do. And what's so crazy about it is I had helped so many other people to accomplish their similar one thing. And when I look back, mine was still sitting on the shelf. So that was a moment that blew me away to realize that you could be going, 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 putting your best foot forward and making things happen and looking good on paper, but still be stuck. So that's how I got to where I am now, where I realized that you helping people to get unstuck, but it's really you. You need to get unstuck.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. You also told me something about like you took a break too, right?
Mhm.
Like, and that kind of disrupted momentum. Talk to me about that real quick. Like, kind of
Oh yeah.
tell me that story again about like you taking a break and how that impacted you as well.
So, you do all the things and you got to know when it's time to take the break,
Right,
especially if you go in really, really hard for long, extended seasons of time. And I had made up my mind that this year, because usually in years past, when I take the break at this particular time, that's a cycle that would repeat. When I come off a break, I would be finding it hard to just build up that momentum again. And so I
right.
made up my mind that no matter what, that wasn't going to happen. So when I took my break, I didn't actually take a break. It kind of just changed my patterns. But when I was forced to actually sit down and slow down and just lean into the break, it was hard for me to break out of the break when it was time to get back to work. So I came back and the amount of things I had to do to try to encourage myself to get back in action, it was difficult. And if I had allowed myself to stay there though, I would be having this conversation in January, haven't
Wow.
wasted the rest of this year.
Wow. Wow. So I think we've kind of identified, you know, kind of how being stuck may look for some
Mhm.
people. And I know we're going to delve in there real quick, but I think um, what we want to share tonight is 3 steps to move you forward, right? Like 3 steps to move forward. And so, if you're taking notes, I want you to write that down. 3 steps to move you forward, and we're gonna share those with you tonight and kind of break them down and have a conversation about it. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So the first one, and it's we kind of alluded to it, and maybe it's the reason why you're on or why you're watching this whenever you're watching it is this. The first step is this: admit that you're stuck, right? Like admit that you're stuck. Oftentimes, Shamia said, like you're so busy that you're not even aware that you're stuck. You've been going through the motions. You've been just being busy just to be busy, like she was, and maybe you feel unfulfilled, maybe you feel unproductive, and you don't know why. And I think one of the things that you have to do is admit that you're stuck. Shamia, talk to us about that. Talk to me.
Yeah, you got to be real with yourself and
Mhm.
be open and honest enough with yourself to sit down and then be open and honest enough with yourself to admit it to yourself. But also, this is something I hadn't said before, but even in admitting that yourself, sometimes you need that person in your life who is not afraid to call you out so that you could admit that,
Accountability. Accountability.
yeah, or that, that
Okay.
friend who appreciates you enough and who values you enough to be able to say, hey, I see you, but that thing that you told me you wanted to do last year, where are you with that? And then be able to take what they say in love and honesty and assess yourself and then admit that, yes, I am stuck. So maybe you got some people you need to who are looking up to you, right? And so being vulnerable sometimes, especially if you're in a position of leadership or some kind of influence where people are expecting you to show up as this perfect, got it all together person. So sometimes in those moments, it could be hard to be that kind of transparent where you can say to yourself or to anybody else, I am stuck. And once you admit that you're stuck, find that person who could help you to get unstuck. That one person you could go to and say, okay, you told me that you're stuck. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to show up? Do you want me to be your agitator? Like, what do you need from me to be in your life? And so you gotta surround yourself with those type of friends and those type of influences where um, you could admit you're stuck and also have someone to help you
Mhm.
to not stay in that same position.
I think what you're saying is powerful because I think in order for someone to have that conversation with you, you have to be in proximity, right?
Right,
Like you have to be in relationship with people that can recognize that you haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. You haven't done what you said, or maybe your energy is a little off,
mm-hmm.
or maybe you're not out there as much. You know, I'd say this: I'm consistent on social media, and I'll be honest with you. Like, I'll take a week break, and I'll have people message me like, "Is everything okay? Like, you okay?" Like,
Right,
because they see there's a rhythm that's different. They see that I've stopped doing something, and so uh, I put myself in a place where I'm accountable to people that I didn't realize I was being accountable to, right?
right,
Because there's an expectation, and so people recognize that, hey, okay, something's off about you, so they can call it out, right? And I think having those vulnerable conversations with people and accountability on the front end is important because the journey gets difficult, right? Like no matter what the goal is, right? Like whether that's to start a business, to do a podcast, to write a book, uh, to start a side hustle, whatever the case is, like telling people on the front end is important so that you do have that level of accountability that there are folks that could call you out or could even ask you a question. Not call you out because that could seem negative, but maybe
right,
even ask you a question about it, right?
right.
So
So
anything.
even
Mhm.
with that, sorry, um, sometimes you have to, in admitting that you're stuck, you have to be vocal and open enough to say to someone, I give you permission
That's
to
good.
call me out.
That's good.
Give people permission, because sometimes you have people around you and they want to be able to tell you that, but they don't know that they have permission to tell you that. So sometimes you
Mhm.
have to let people know that I give you permission to call me out when you see me doing something that's out of character or out of my norm or falling off in some kind of way. And I'm not gonna be offended by it because I know it's coming from a place of love, care, and concern.
That's good. That's good. I like that. So our second point is the one that has the most meat to it. So I want to jump to that real quick, right? So the second point is the first point is understanding, is recognizing that you're stuck, right? The second point is understanding what has you stuck, where you're stuck, and why you're stuck. And that's meaty. And there's a lot that, even as we talked about it today, we were back and forth, kind of chopping this up, trying to figure it out and stuff like that. The what has you stuck, the where has you stuck, and the why you're stuck. And so um that's going to be the meat of it, right? Like, one, admitting it, but like coming to this realization of maybe, this awareness of what, where, and why. Talk to us about that real quick, Shabir.
All right. So some people don't know what has them stuck, right?
Mhm.
So they've admitted that they're stuck, but they don't know what is the thing that has them stuck. And here it is. We have, sometimes you're stuck because, call it hesitating on a green light. So, and I didn't make this up, by the way. A friend of mine told me a story of um, failing a driving test several times, not just once,
Mama.
in a different country. And I'm like, how are you failing the driving test, but you know how to drive?
Wow.
And she was telling me this story about just constantly failing this test the same night.
Mm.
It's every single time she went to take the test. Because for some reason, every time she was approaching this green light, something in her head told her, you have to wait.
Uh,
She was like waiting on permission. You could be sitting up waiting on permission that you don't need or that you already have.
so she got the green light, but she still hesitated.
She still hesitated
Mhm.
and failed this test multiple times.
Huh.
Yeah,
Huh. Listen,
over and over.
I know this in church, but that'll preach. You know that, right?
Right. I told her that. And I told her that when she
That'll,
hears
that'll,
it again, if I take credit for it, don't don't
that'll preach. Let me jump in there real quick, because like, you waiting on permission. So I often tell my agents that they don't have to wait to be great. Like, you don't
Mhm.
have to wait to be great. Like, you don't have to, like, I even tell my kids that, right? Like, you could be great at 8, at 9. You don't have
Mhm.
to, you don't have to be in the waiting to be great line. There's no line for that. Like, okay, you can't be great until you're 40, right?
Right.
Like, you don't have to wait to be great. So I think that's kind of, a lot of people are stuck, as you mentioned, that's the what that has them stuck, that they're hesitating and they got the green light. Listen, somebody, you have to run around your house right now because you got the green light.
You got the
You got the
green
green
light.
light. You got the green light.
Right.
Come on, talk to us.
Yeah. And then some people, they get stuck in this season of dreaming, like the dreamers. They dream,
Mm-hmm.
but they never get up. They never awake from the dream.
Mm,
They comfortable just laying down dreaming all day, but they never actually
mm,
get up and do something about it.
mm,
After you sleep, after you dream, it's time to get up. Some people, that's their stuck story, that they've been having the one dream for the past 10 years, but they
mm.
haven't done the first thing towards that dream.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've even talked to you about that too, right? Like, I know, one of the things I told you before is like, okay, I want to write this book.
Mhm.
I want to write this book and I want to do it. I know the title of it. I know all these things, but then like, it's just a dream. Like, I'm not doing it, right? Like, and
Right.
it's like that is the what that has me stuck, because it's just a dream, right? Like, I'm not doing anything with it. So yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah. And then sometimes you can find yourself in a season of self-sabotaging your progress because you are afraid of the unknown, or you're afraid of success, or you're afraid of what's around the corner. And so you find yourself intentionally and unintentionally self-sabotaging. You was doing
So,
good.
so
All of a sudden you cut your own foot off.
well, listen, like, so when we were going over this together today, I stopped you right there as well, right? And I'm gonna stop you again, right?
Okay.
And you said afraid of success.
Yes.
Like, like afraid of success? Like, are there people afraid of success? Like, how does
I,
that play out?
I could tell you that there are people that are afraid of success because this is sometimes where I get stuck. It's
Mhm.
and I've had this conversation at least 4 times today, talking to creative people. As a creative person, I said, sometimes we live in the future and we forget to come and actually start something. But for there are some people that they are afraid of, okay, after I do this, and then it's good, and then it's great and it's successful. How am I going to beat that? How am I going to keep that up? How am I
Yeah,
going to keep on doing great and being great without repeating the same thing over and over and over again?
yeah.
And so I know what it is to be afraid of my own success. Like I would have seasons where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and I know that this is going to turn out, I have that confidence that it's going to turn out well. But then I'm also like, okay, but now people are going to expect you to do this over again. And
Mhm.
are you going to be able to keep that up? Are you going to be able to meet the expectation? And so fair success could look like that.
Well, so one of the things that we talked about earlier was like this subconscious or this consciously self-sabotaging,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like um the what has people stuck is their own selves, like they get in their own way,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes it's something that happened, sometimes it's some event or someone let you down, but sometimes it's you, it's you,
Mm-hmm.
it's you
It's
getting
you.
it's you
It's
getting
you.
in your own way, right?
Yeah. You getting
Yeah.
in your own way.
Subconsciously or consciously.
Right.
So
Both.
is that kind of that same thing that you're talking about in terms of like um afraid of success or afraid of the unknown that people self-sabotage because of that, you think?
I think that could be a big
Gotcha.
reason why people do self-sabotage. Um, yeah, just they self-sabotage because they don't want to be good at you.
Mhm.
You ever set out to call someone, but you were hoping that they didn't answer the phone when they call? Only me. I'm the only one that
I
does
cannot confirm or deny that.
that. Just in case, right?
Mhm. I
But
can't.
you like like I know I need to make this call. I don't
Mhm.
really know if I'm prepared for the
Listen,
volume of the
yeah,
answer of the
listen,
call.
listen. That literally happened to me like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I called
Like
someone back and I was like, don't answer.
I have
I
on the
just want to
first
be
ring.
hey, I just want to be able to say I called,
I called.
right? I just
Yeah.
want a receipt. I just want a receipt to say
Let
I
the
called.
record state that I
Yes,
did call you.
yes,
You did not answer. So now I throw
yes.
it back at you,
Uh-huh.
and I put it back on you to take responsibility for what happens next. And
Right.
so self-sabotage could look like that, you know, ring once, knock on the door, and run away, or something. I know I'm not the only one who does that. And some people in the
Right.
chat saying that they do it too. So we ain't alone out here in these streets.
So that self-sabotage looks like you want to be successful, but you're afraid to be successful. Like
You
you want to say you tried,
mhm.
but you want to do just enough to say you tried.
Just enough to say you tried.
Yeah, yeah,
Just enough to say you tried and to give yourself an out, especially if it didn't work out. Or at least I tried.
yeah,
Didn't try again.
yeah.
Didn't try to readjust and try to make it happen again. You just
So
try with saying you tried.
so maybe there are individuals on this tonight or on the replay that you had some goals, but you self-sabotage your own self in your own goals. Um, that maybe when it got hard, you just wanted to be able to say you tried, that you
Mhm.
did it, like and you didn't put your all into it. So maybe that's why you're stuck because you self-sabotage. And I think
Yeah.
that's powerful. I think a lot of this that we're talking about in the front end of it is awareness,
Right.
like being self-aware.
Yes.
um, and understanding some of the reasons around it, right? What's that fourth one? Talk to us about that, and we'll talk about it.
Um, giving too much power to your excuses, you know,
Yeah.
just riding on it, having your
Mhm.
excuses, but not giving yourself the responsibility of overcoming them. So back to
Mhm.
this, at least I tried.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can say, at
So
least I
you know,
tried.
I don't want you to stay on that too long because we're gonna come back to that because
Right.
that's a big part of the conversation
Mhm.
is validating excuses, right? And excuses that we give ourselves. Um, and sometimes I've seen this extreme, Shamir, where sometimes people are harder on others and they give themselves grace. And I know other people that are gracious to others and then they're hard on themselves,
Right.
right? And so I don't know where you are in that spectrum of excuses, right? But some of the excuses, then my point is that some of the excuses that you give for why you're not doing what you said that you do, you wouldn't let someone else get away with.
Exactly. And I'm the type
Right?
of person, one thing I hate is a lame excuse. Like, don't give me a bad excuse. If you can come up with an excuse, make it good, make it interesting,
I
make it
know, so,
entertaining.
and so in the Bahamas, there are there are like set excuses. We already know it's an excuse when someone give it to us, and it's just like, okay, I'll give you a pass because we know. Like when someone asks you for money and you say, man, man, you should ask me, you should you should ask me half an hour ago. You should ask me yesterday. You know that's just an excuse, right? Like
Yeah.
I adjust, right? So the excuses. So we're not gonna go on that too much right now because we're gonna come back to that, right? So I wanna jump to we have three components of that, right? The what has you excuse
What has you
and
stuck?
also the where are you stuck? What no, so what has you stuck and the why you stuck, right? And so let's talk about that, right? Because there's different ways that you get stuck, right? And so I think once again, this goes into the fact of awareness that we're talking about tonight, that
Hmm.
understanding where you are in the stuck cycle or where you are stuck, right? And so the first one that we talked about is being stuck in a cycle. Talk to us about that, Tree.
Yeah. But so, and the reason why we're talking about identifying where you're stuck
Mm-hmm.
is because you need to know where you are in order to know who's supposed to help you get from there. So, like if you're stuck in a tree, you're stuck up. You need to call someone with a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to call someone with a tow truck. And sometimes we get to the place where we look to the wrong people for help. Maybe we go to the familiar,
Wow.
or you stuck at sea and you call someone who doesn't have a boat. Like that's, and sometimes we do that. And so we stuck because we don't know where we're stuck. And when we're not,
Wait. So here's it. Maybe you are stuck, but you've been looking for help in all the wrong places,
yeah,
right? Like you've been asking for the wrong type of help. You've been asking people that can't help you.
they don't have the tools, they don't have the nothing.
They don't have the skill set. They don't have the resources. They don't have the experience.
They
They
don't
don't
have the
have the knowledge.
proximity. They don't have anything. They don't have anything to help you get
Hey,
from where
listen,
you
listen.
are.
I think we could take up an offering just on that one. Stop looking for the right help in the wrong places.
Right. So, and like Jen is saying, and then being frustrated when they can't help you. Yeah. And so you could be so unaware of where you are that I mean, maybe you're just desperate, right? And so you call on the person who was able to help you that last time. But that
Mhm.
person is in place to help you this time. So now you get frustrated because they can't help you or they won't help you or that season is ended. And so being stuck in a cycle, um, you got to know when it's a cycle now, because if you set out this year, January, and now it's October and you haven't done the thing, did,
Mhm.
did that same thing happen last year? Is this a pattern? Is this happening over and over again? What's happening around the same time in the year that's causing you to get to this place of being stuck in a cycle?
It's a rhythm or a
Rhythm.
cycle.
the rhythm, the cycles, and the patterns, and you got to know where that is, even to know how to avoid that happening
And,
again.
maybe that's where, when you're aware of that, that's where you need to put in the accountability, right? Like,
Right,
you want to start going to the gym in January, but by February you ain't going no more. So
right,
you need to, in January, your main goal has got to be to find someone to work out with,
right. Or
because you're going to
you
be
want
stuck in that
somebody,
cycle. You're going to be
you want
stuck in that cycle,
he's stuck in the
right?
cycle. You want
Of
somebody,
stopping
you keep
in
on
February.
coming. You want somebody, but you just keep on starting the gym in June every year. No, you got to start earlier than that, right? If you want somebody.
All right, now you're getting too personal. So let's keep on. We're getting this conversation getting personal.
Calling
So
myself out just a little bit.
we can move on. What's so crazy is this. So you join a gym over here, South Carolina. You join a gym and you pay monthly,
Mhm.
and you stop going to the gym, but you shame to cancel the membership.
'Cause you might use it, never know. You might go back.
Yeah, it's like a walk of shame to go in there and be like, I need to
Never
cancel this
mind.
membership. Yeah. Talk about so the next one that we have is being stuck in the past, right? Um, so sometimes the reason why you're stuck is you're stuck in the past. Like something similar happened, or you're comparing where you are to where you used to be,
Mhm,
and you could be stuck. To me, I'll tell you this. I remember some time back, maybe about 8 or 9 years ago, that this is almost a story of self-sabotage. That I had a party rental company, right? And we had tents and stuff like that. And I remember almost a level of self-sabotage, because I remember one Sunday morning me having to go to a job because some folks didn't show up. And I remember that Sunday morning is like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I'm outside putting up a tent, right? And I was so frustrated because I was thinking about my past. That in the past I used to be a pastor, I used to be on TV, and it was like I I I was stuck in my past and not embrace the season I was in. That
mhm,
company wasn't successful because I was in my own head, stuck in the past. That
mhm,
I didn't give it a fair opportunity to grow. Granted, something happened why I had to show up, right? It wasn't that I was going to be working every Sunday, but I was so stuck in the past and what I used to do that I couldn't be successful. And ultimately, we ended up closing that company down like shortly thereafter, right? Because I was stuck in the past. And maybe the reason why you're stuck is because you're stuck with something, maybe past success, maybe past failure,
yeah.
maybe something from the past, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and I also want to say, um, sometimes you could be stuck in the past because you have not acknowledged that you've outgrown that old goal, that old dream. Like, you've outgrown that, and you need to let that old dream go and give yourself grace and permission to let that go and to write that off and to
Well,
change the goal and to change the dream. So you could be stuck in the past like that as well. Like the dreams that you had at 12 years old, you shouldn't have that same dream. Well, I wouldn't say shouldn't, because it could be a very big dream, but
right.
you at 12 years old, you're dreaming from that place. And you're now 32, 42, 52,
Mm-hmm,
still having these boy dreams.
mm-hmm.
And you have not acknowledged that you've outgrown the dream, or that's not the season that you're in anymore, like you said. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Stuck in confusion. Talk to us.
Stuck in confusion. You stuck in confusion because you don't want to take the next step, because you don't know if you're supposed to be going left, you don't know if you should be going right, and you're afraid to make the mistake
Yeah.
of going left and it not working. Even though
Mm-hmm.
if you go left and it doesn't work, you could bounce back, right? That's rational. You could start over, but you could be stuck in confusion, and that causes you not to do anything at all. And so
Right.
instead of moving forward, you just stay right there.
So that's what we were talking about earlier. That analysis paralysis.
Right.
Right. You're stuck and confused because you don't know which direction to go. And
Right.
I don't know if the majority of people watching are business owners or if they're just dreamers or whatever the case is, but like you could get stuck in the confusion of not knowing where to go. And oftentimes I tell people it's just take the next step. Like oftentimes the confusion is the big goal or the further step. It's not necessarily the next step. A lot of times we get confused because we get ahead of ourselves. And
Mhm.
sometimes the next step is clear, right? The next step is clear. Maybe the step after that may not be clear, but we don't even take the next step
Right.
because we're not clear about the further steps along the way. And a lot
Mm.
of people get stuck because they're not willing to take the next step. That
Right.
step is clear. It's clear. Boom. Now we don't know what's going to happen after that, and you're overthinking it. So, but take that step, and then let's take the next step after that, right?
Right. And then remember we said earlier about giving someone permission to be able to talk to you. And sometimes you stuck in confusion because you just need to say it out loud to someone. And sometimes you say things out loud and the answer comes to you right away without even having someone even explain it.
Mhm.
So that you could be stuck in confusion just because you choose to be in isolation and you're
So,
not giving
well,
someone else permission to help you out a bit.
yeah. Um, we talked about this earlier when you and I were discussing our time together today. Um, Stuck in confusion and stuck in illusion. Like as we were going over that, I was like, wait a minute, like illusion and delusion. Like it sounds similar, but it's very different, right? Um, Delusion and illusion. Uh, share with us the difference between those and why you could be stuck in both.
Delusion, delusion could look like the fantasy.
Mhm.
You already painted the picture of how you think or how you want things to go and how you want it to look and how you want it to play out, and that you get stuck there. So
Yeah.
anything that presents itself that doesn't look like the fantasy, you write it off. No, 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 no. We ain't doing that. Because I already know what I've been daydreaming about. And if it doesn't play out like that, I am not accepting anything to replace that.
Delusional. Delusional.
Delusional, just a little. Some
Yeah.
people a little delusional, some people a little bit more delusional.
And so in plain words, the reason why you could be stuck is because you're not being realistic.
Right. Or you're not even giving yourself a chance to be open to what other possibilities exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is kind of a different kind of scenario, but I was watching a reel on Facebook that popped up yesterday or today, and it was showing this young lady, and her hair was unkept, and you could tell that she wasn't like a well-off person, and she's on this show, this dating show, and she was trying to talk about the type of man that she wants, right? Like she's like, he got to be 6 foot, he have to have dreads, and he have to make $1 million, right? And it was like, sis, delusion,
Delusional.
delusion. And it's like, so the host is like, so if he doesn't have these things, if he doesn't have the dreads, you wouldn't want him. Nope, I don't want him. And it's like, sis, you got to be able to be pliable, and you got
Yeah.
to be able to adjust and be flexible. And a lot of times, the reason why we're stuck in this delusion is because we're not being flexible,
Right.
right?
No
And so,
flexibility, no
so
adaptability.
here's it. I know as a high driven person, like you want what you want, and I get that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying settle. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying settle, but sometimes you've got to come out of the clouds and be realistic about what the next step is or what the goal is in this season. And a lot of people get stuck because they don't have everything that they want, that they don't take the next step. And so you can be stuck in illusion. And so if that's why you're stuck, you need to get out of that.
Yeah. You gotta get out of it.
Illusion. Talk to us about that.
Illusion, that's perception, right? So your perception could be based on things that you assumed or based on a lie that you believed your whole life or whatever. And so some people are stuck because what they see is a mirage or what they want is a mirage and they just stuck in an illusion like of it's a false reality. And so you're not delusional in terms of just making things up, but you just stuck in a false reality. So I had this conversation while I was on my break with my aunt, and I'm telling her my story. I'm saying, well, I used to be shy and afraid of public and this and that. And the next thing, and she said to me, you were never shy. Like as a child, you were never shy. And I'm like, at first I was like, how you could tell me, but then I was like, but you are the second person that knows me best at that age. And so you know what you've seen. You know the gifts and the talents and all that you saw in me. And she said to me, you were never shy as a kid. You were always doing this and that and the next thing, things that I had forgotten. And I had to ask myself, at what point did I start believing that lie that I was shy? And then acting according to the lie that I believed. And so you could be stuck in an illusion because it's just some lies that you believe about yourself. Maybe someone said something to you while you were doing good, and someone said something and throw you off course, someone of influence in your life, and you start believing the lie that you were not who you know that God said you are. And you start crumbling and folding and responding to what someone else said versus what you know deep down inside.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's get to these two because our time is quickly going tonight. We're gonna have an hour conversation and we got 15 minutes to get this done. So let's do this. Stuck in exhaustion. And so that one is kind of self-explanatory. You're stuck because you're tired.
Right. And you're tired because you committing to doing the thing, something else other than what you're supposed to be doing. You're giving all your energy away to something else.
Yeah. 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 And so I have a level of empathy to people that may be stuck because they're exhausted. And so give yourself permission to rest, but don't stay there.
Right.
Like
And
give
learn to
yourself
build the
permission.
rest in. Learn to build the rest in the routine
Mhm.
because not everyone's going to be able to go so long and then stop. You gotta build the rest in.
Yeah. 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 No, that's good. And some of you that are watching this, you're stuck and you decided to take a break, and that break has been months, and that break maybe has been years. Right? And so maybe that's why you're stuck because you got tired. And this isn't church, but the Bible talks about this. Don't get weary in well doing. You'll reap if you faint not. So don't get tired doing the right thing. Don't get tired putting in the work. As
Right.
Shamia said, you got to build in rest in your work, right? You
Right.
can't get weary in it because you'll get stuck. You'll stay right where you are and don't move forward because you're taking a break. So or you're stuck in a rut. Let's do that one and then we can go on, Shamia.
Yeah, you just stuck in a rut because you were running so well, and all of a sudden something just slowed you down, and now you stuck there. You can't you once you get in a rut, you can't will yourself out of a rut. Something has to push you out of a rut or force you out of a rut, whether it's something uncomfortable, and most of the time it's something uncomfortable that has to give you that shake up. But you can't will yourself out of it. And so you could just be stuck there because as much as you want to get up, you just can't make it happen on your own.
Yeah, yeah. Shamia, let's go to the next slide because this is the third question under this point, right? So we talked about what has you stuck. We talked about where you stuck. But this one was tricky for us as we were going through this, talking about the why,
Right.
right? Like this is tricky because the what and the why is different in terms of being stuck, right? And so I thought about it, and I talked to our agency last night something about this, and those of you that are dreamers, that are business owners, that are entrepreneurs, there is a why that you started, right? There's a why that you had to dream. There's a why that you had to go. There's a why that you started with, right? And so some of you, that why may be to create generational wealth. Some of you, that why may be to do something different for your kids than what your parents did. For
Mm-hmm.
some of you, that why is to make some type of impact or to have some type of resource, whatever the case is, right? And man, that why is why you saved. That why was why you built it, why you did it, why you planned it, why you put it on the dream board. You had this why, right? But on the journey, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, somewhere along the line, there were excuses that came into it that caused you to stop, caused you to slow down, caused you to quit, right? So you started with this why, this big why. Then excuses came in or reasons. Uh, I'll be fair with it. Let's say reasons. I don't want to say excuses because that could seem negative. But whatever reason it is that you stopped, right? And so you stopped. And here's what I want to let you know. Your why that you started, the why that caused you to begin, the why that caused you to dream, doesn't care about your excuses. All right, let me say it again. Your why, the big why, the reason why you started, the reason why you dreamed it, the reason why you wanted to accomplish it, does not care about your excuses. And so your excuses, if you keep on focusing on the excuses, you keep on focusing on the reasons why you can't do it, it will set you back. But if you focus on the why that you started, it will help you move forward. So you got a choice, right? When you think about why am I stuck, you could think about why you're stuck, or you could think about why you started.
Right.
There's two different things. And Shmi, we give me them quotes that you were saying about what you could do. Come on, talk to me. Tell us that. I can't wait for it because I want to remix it. Listen. You could check me on my Facebook and Instagram. This is going to be on there this week. Say it for us.
So your excuses will paralyze you, but your why is what's going to mobilize you.
Say it again. Say it one more time because that's a drop to mind. Your excuses will paralyze you.
Your excuses will paralyze you because the thing about excuses is they're usually valid, right? They usually carry weight. They mean something, but your excuses will paralyze you and your why will mobilize you.
Listen, coming to Facebook this week, you will see that there. Okay? Come on, tell me the next one. Tell me the next one.
And your excuses will create the distraction, but your why will create traction.
Woo! Give me that one more time. Give me that one more time.
Your excuses will create a distraction, but your why is what's going to create the traction that you need to build that momentum and keep on going.
That's good. That's good. Give me that last one.
And then your excuses will leave you stuck, set you back, and possibly be the reason why you quit. But your why is what is going to move you forward, even if that is just one step at a time.
Listen, so the crux of this is this. Your why has to be bigger than your excuses.
It has to be.
It has to be bigger than your excuses, right? If your excuses are bigger than your why, I've got a news flash for you. Your why isn't big enough.
That's correct.
If you have this is the fourth quarter that we're starting. We're talking about resetting your momentum so you can finish strong. If your excuses are more important, your excuses are bigger, your excuses carry more weight than the why, you can stay stuck.
You're going to stay stuck.
If you're going to reset your momentum and finish strong, your why has to be bigger than your excuses. Now, here's what I've learned, Shmia. Which one of those you feed often grows the most?
Exactly.
So if you feed your why, it grows. If you feed your excuses, that'll grow too.
Right.
And so whichever one is fed the most is the one that's going to be the most powerful in your life. And so you could choose between your why. What are you going to feed? Your why, right? Listen, I got to do this because I need my kids to go to this type of school. I need my kids to be able to do this. I need to be able to move this way. I need to have this type of freedom. I need to be able to have these resources. Whatever the case is, your why has to be bigger than excuses. And so that's the crux of it, right? And so our time is quickly going tonight. You got something for me, Shimmy?
No, I say that's the crux of the matter at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. So the third step, right? We have 3 steps tonight, and the third step is this. It's really simple. Do something.
Drop the mic.
Do something.
do something. You got to do something. And the something you have to do could look like disarming your excuses, like taking the power away from your excuses, invalidating them. And it could look like changing your routine or changing a habit or even changing your circles, because maybe your circles are the reason why you stuck. You trying to go forward with people who aren't going anywhere at all. And then you need to stop ignoring the warning signs. When the check engine light comes on in your car, you need to stop and check the engine. Otherwise, at some point, that car is going to leave you on the side of the road.
So I think that's another discussion that we could have at another time in
Mhm.
terms of the warning signs, right?
Right.
I was preaching the other day and I was talking about this a little bit, right? Because I remember like my car, my regular car, when it's under 50 miles, it makes a sound, right? And then when it's under 25 miles, it makes a sound. And I was driving on I-95 and I had a rental car and it didn't make no sound. I know the gas was running low, but it didn't give me the sound that I'm used to, right? And so, needless to say, long story short, I ended up to call roadside assistance.
Right.
Let's put it that way. And it's because I ignored the warning signs. And so the reality is this: do something, but don't ignore the warning signs. Because
Right.
oftentimes it's easy to get the momentum to start again, but if you don't change something, you're going to end up right back where you were. And so that's why you have to, a lot of this conversation tonight has been about awareness, right?
Right.
Being aware of what, being aware of the why. That's all the warning signs, right? So once you're aware of that, that now can become a warning sign to help you move forward so that the next time you gain momentum, the next time you reset, that now you have some tools in place to identify the warning signs and this time not ignore them.
Right.
All right. All right. Last two, and then we could give do our giveaways.
Yeah. So and you have to be stop being a consumer and stop comparing. And when I talk about being a consumer, you know what that thing is that you need to do, but instead of you doing it, you busy watching other people do it. You watching other people live out the goal that you set for yourself or live the dream that you set for yourself. You just sitting back, watching, consuming, but never actually putting anything out there. And you're consuming, sometimes you're consuming because you're busy comparing yourself. So you look at, oh, Jermaine could do that, but I can't do that. You don't know what it takes for Jermaine to get up in the day and every morning and do what he does.
Yeah.
You don't know that it's you probably have more than he has, more resources, more skill, more ability to be able to do it. But once you stop consuming and once you stop comparing, then you would find yourself in a better position to be able to do something. And then you
Absolutely.
just got to go big.
Go big.
Sometimes
Go
the
big.
step you've been making was too small. You
Mhm.
okay, comfortable taking the baby steps. Maybe you just need to do something big and loud and obnoxious and just completely out of character as your next thing, your next step. And don't be afraid. Do the big
Yeah.
thing. Go big.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna let you give the last word here in a second, and then we'll talk about what we need people to do next. Um, but oftentimes going big is the very thing that you need to do. But some of you, that's not the thing that you need to do. Some of you, it's taking the next step, right? So this forward movement, I'm all about being forward, of going forward, right? And not the only time you look back is to learn. The only time you look back is to gain the knowledge, insight, so you can move forward, not so you could stay there, not so you could be stuck, right? But oftentimes it might be going big, bold, audacious, obnoxious, as Shamia said. But oftentimes it might be taking a small step as well. And so I want to challenge you that wherever you are, take your next step. That's what forward movement is all about. Taking your next step. That's what resetting your momentum so you can finish strong in 2024 is all about. Taking your next step. And so, what is that next step? What is that next step? Shamir, give us that quote and then I'll tell us what our next steps are.
So momentum is built, but it's not bought. You can't walk in a store and buy momentum. And momentum is sparked, but it's not caught. And so as much as I would want to give you some of my momentum, I could only inspire you and spark your momentum, but you can't catch it from me. It's not contagious. And so momentum is built and not bought, and it is sparked, but not caught.
That's good. That's good. So listen, we are out of time. It is 8 o'clock. We said that we'd be an hour tonight. Listen, this is what I want you to do. We have a worksheet that we've put together for you to help you get unstuck, to help you move forward, right? We put it where the worksheet. Also, if you came in late, we have the replay for you. And so this is your next step, right? Your next step is to maybe watch the beginning of this, and then we want to send you that worksheet as well. And so what we want you to do is to go to thefwdmovement.com/live. And what you want to do is click and request a replay. And if you request the replay, click on that request a replay, put in your name and email address, you'll get the replay, but you'll also get the worksheet that we put together for you for tomorrow as well. Okay. You're going to get that dropped in your inbox early tomorrow morning, and that's going to help you move forward. Listen, it doesn't matter what happened in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. We are now on October 1st. It's the fourth quarter, and it's time to move forward. Shamir, thank you so much for the
Thank you.
conversation tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Listen, we're going to be doing this again and having more conversations, you and I, about how to move forward because that's what it's all about. You don't have to stay stuck. You can move forward. Your excuses cannot be as big as your why. Let's get unstuck. Let's move forward. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.